arranging this opportunity. Oh. Sorry. Okay, I'll start again then. I'd like to thank you for being invited here and to be a part of this panel. I would like to talk to you about the situation in Balochestan. In Iran, there is a country that 80 million people live, and they have multi-ethnic, it's a multi-ethnic country in diversity in language, history, culture, and religion, with ethnic groups such as Ahwazi Arab, Azerbaijani Turks, Fars, Baloch, Kurd, Lur, and Turkmen. In reality, the Islamic Republic only recognizes one ethnicity, the Persian, one religion, Shia Muslim, and all others are left lacking access to their ethnic identity. Although the Islamic Republic's constitution recognizes the right of the ethnic group, it has in reality implemented strong instructional structures to discriminate against the ethnic groups in all levels of life, leaving them in an extremely vulnerable position without national support. A paradox with an aim to assimilate all ethnic groups so that the Islamic Republic of Iran will be one nation, one language, one history, one religion. It is denying the others any share in the power structure of the country. It has been like this since the Pahlavi dynasty that came in 1928, and they started with a centralization government, and the policy has been to especially keep the minorities, in this case Baloch, uneducated and politically backward. Assimilation is a policy. They want to erase Baloch identity and history. Balochestan has a geographical importance. It's located in a strategic and rich in important natural resources such as gas, coal, gold and copper, oil and uranium. And it has kilometers of coastline of the gates of the Persian Gulf. The current Islamic Republic of Iran has put their Revolutionary Guard in 2009, and they have completely decision-making power in Balochestan, including when it comes to security, governance, authority, and the Revolutionary Guard is treating Baloch people in Balochestan occupied like a occupied territory. Linguistic and cultural discrimination. Human Rights Watch has documented that the repression of Baloch language and Baloch culture out of fear that movement for Greater Balochestan would danger the territorial integrity of the Iran predates the Islamic Republic. Muhammad Reza Shah had banned the use of Balochi language and prohibited the wearing of Balochi dress in schools. The publication of Baloch books, magazines, and newspapers was criminal offense. Human Rights Watch further emphasizes that the Islamic Republic has done nothing to reverse this situation. The poverty is great in Balochestan. 70% of people are living below the poverty line. 2/3 of the province population does not have access to drinking water. So discrimination in all levels of life, from the day you are born to the day you die. The political representation of minorities, no Baloch has ever served as a ministry of cabinet or as an ambassador. The number of the Baloch in the provincial administration of Balochistan is no more than 5% of the total civil servants. They have a procedure that is called گزینش, that means that a religious selection process called گزینش in Farsi, which requires persons to demonstrate alliance to the Islamic Republic in order to get admission to higher education or to get job as a civil servant. This is one of the reasons that majority of Baluch or young Baluch, they fail to enter higher education and find a job. This is important factors to understand of educational resources in Balochestan. Mother tongue. Baluch children face challenges in accessing education and are prohibited to education in their mother tongue. Even though they learn their mother tongue when they are born, they have to learn Farsi when they start school. This is a language they cannot associate with in the beginning of their first school years. This gives them a smaller chance to succeed and learn as easy as their classmates that speak Farsi since birth. The Ministry of Education introduced a new regulation that is Farsi mastering test for children called Pasandagi. It means that children must understand certain level of Farsi to be able to enroll in school. That is a barrier and discrimination for minority children. If a child do not pass the test for any reason or the reasons mentioned above, it will be classified as a mentally retard, which is against UNESCO standards that Iran is partying to. That as well is an assimilation of minorities, a policy to push the parents to talk Farsi to their children instead of their mother tongue Baluchi. Discrimination and poverty. Baluch, due to their ethnicity and religion as Sunni, face discrimination. It is by the selection procedure, or gozinash, as it's called, as I mentioned before, that they can enter higher education or get the advantages as everyone else. Many families cannot afford to send their children to school, and it results many times in high number of child labor, and for girls in child marriages, unfortunately, that leaves them very vulnerable, living in very devastating and horrible conditions without any help from authorities or being able to claim their rights as human beings. Infrastructure is one of the other problems in Balochestan. Balochestan is rich in natural resources, but one of the poorest regions in the country. The infrastructure in Balochestan is not developed and has had hazardous consequences such as poorly developed roads and unreliable school service that often results in bad accidents with deaths and injuries. There was some incidents that recently happened. One of them was a fire in one of the schools in Balochestan in Sakedan, where 4 girls died in that fire. And then we had the same in Shinabad. It's not Balochestan, but same, many girls were injured by the fire there. And recently in 2019, many girls were poisoned through carbon monoxide when one of the heaters broke down. So the government is not doing anything to make a safer environment for the students. There is a big problem. Many Baluch, they don't have a birth certificate, so they are not entitled to any state benefits. They cannot vote, they cannot go to school, they don't have health care. They cannot travel, and when they want to obtain a certificate, there is many problems. They have to travel far, and they have to do some very expensive DNA tests. So many people cannot afford that. Why is it important for women to get education? In a country where men are sole provider and has the authority in every aspect of the law, it is extremely important for women to be educated and know about her rights. especially with the gender discrimination and hardship that it is in a patriarchal society like Iran. And it's inbred in the judicial system, and especially for Baloch women due to poverty, illiteracy, and discrimination that lead to being third or fourth class citizens. Many women are widowed and have lost their sole provider, as it happens in daily basis when the Baloch men are targeted to indiscriminated and extreme judicial killings. Women are then left as sole provider for the family, which is a bigger challenge for them if they are illiterate, poor, and unemployed. If a woman is educated, it is also more likely that she will send her children to school. Having education will give them a better chance to be independent and stay strong in claiming their rights in a traditional society as Balochestan. All these mechanisms to an equal educational opportunity creates barriers for women to be independent and self-sufficient. When it comes to legal protection, if you do not have the sufficient tools, you will not know how to protect yourself or where you can access the legal framework. Thank you.